Our ITONICS Academy course on Business Model Innovation Essentials helps innovation professionals like you transform their approach to creating, delivering, and capturing value. Designed for startups and established companies alike, this course covers everything from foundational concepts to advanced strategies, practical tools, and real-world examples. Hi there, this is Emily with the ITONICS Academy, and I'm here to guide you through this course on the essentials of business model innovation. This course is designed for innovation professionals who are looking to deepen their understanding of business model innovation strategies and apply them to drive sustainable growth in their organizations. This course is divided into 5 sessions, starting with this one, which provides an introduction to business model innovation. In the following sessions, you can expect to learn about the building blocks of your business model, strategies for business model innovation, implementing business model innovation, and lastly, tools to innovate and scale your new business model. Each session is also accompanied by supporting material for you to reinforce your understanding and application of the concepts discussed, including blog articles, use cases, and downloadable templates. Whether you're part of a startup or an established company, you'll find best practice methodologies, useful tools, and real-world examples that will help you transform your business approach to meet ever-evolving market demands. Let's get into it. We'll start with some definitions. If you're pursuing business model innovation, there's a pretty good chance you know what a business model is. However, let's define it in terms of its components and functions within an organization, which will help later when identifying innovation opportunities. A business model outlines how a company creates, delivers, and captures value. Value creation is at the core of any business model. It involves the activities, resources, and partners needed to develop products or services that either meet unfulfilled needs or create new desires. This is not just about what is created, but also about how something is created. Value delivery is how you bring the value you have created to the customer. It encompasses promotion, distribution, and after-sales support. A seamless value delivery process is essential to ensure that the product or service reaches the customer in the most efficient, cost-effective, and quality-consistent manner. Finally, value capture is how the business benefits from delivering value. This goes beyond mere financial transactions to include customer loyalty, brand reputation, and market share. The reward system must align closely with customer expectations and the business's long-term strategy to foster sustainable growth. In addition to these components, there's also your value proposition, which is the thread that connects all these components and communicates to the customer why they should choose your product or service over others. It is essentially a promise of the value to be delivered. So, with this definition in mind, business model innovation is, simply put, adapting, enhancing, or transforming how your company creates, delivers, and captures value. Unlike product or technological innovation, which primarily focuses on advancements or improvements in specific products or technologies, business model innovation transforms an organization's underlying structure and operations to better meet market demands and leverage new opportunities. Considering that in just the past 5 decades, the average lifespan for business models has decreased from 15 years to less than 5, it's evident that business model innovation is not just a nice-to-have capability, but indeed a core capability for organizations aiming to remain relevant and resilient in the future. In addition to this, why else is business model innovation a powerful strategy? The reasons are many and include increased market share. Companies that innovate their business models are often able to tap into new customer segments or create new markets, potentially increasing their market share. A great example of this is Amazon, which continuously reinvents and expands its business model, going from an online bookseller to e-commerce giant to cloud computing and streaming services leader. Also, enhanced customer retention. Innovative business models that improve customer experience or provide added value can lead to higher customer retention rates. Subscription models, like those of Netflix or software-as-a-service platforms, exemplify how consistent value delivery can enhance customer loyalty. There's often a benefit of cost reduction, where realigning business models towards more efficient processes can lead to significant cost reductions. Examples include companies like IKEA, which has streamlined its operations from product design through to customer delivery, optimizing costs at every step. Revenue growth through diversified revenue streams. Apple's expansion from primarily selling hardware to including a robust services sector with streaming, apps, and subscriptions illustrates how business model innovation can open up new revenue channels. And lastly, adaptability to rapid market changes. Companies that can quickly pivot their business models in response to market changes are better positioned to maintain operational effectiveness. A good example of this is Uber's expansion into delivery services during reduced demand for ride-sharing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Another point to keep in mind is that this kind of innovation can often go unnoticed by competitors until it has significantly disrupted the market. And in the digital age, amongst platformification and AI-powered everything as a service, it's never been easier to innovate business models and adjust to customer needs with greater speed and agility. So there are many different types of business model innovation, but according to a decade-long study from the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland, 90% of business models can be traced to around 55 simple patterns, which it has turned into a useful set of cards. One of the great things about this resource, available on the Business Model Navigator site, is that it also shows pattern co-occurrences, emphasizing the fact that most business models are multifaceted. Let's look at the example of Spotify. Spotify, as most will know, is a music streaming service, and it operates under two models: a freemium service providing basic features for free with ads and limitations, and an ad-free premium service with higher streaming quality, more user control, and music downloads, available for a subscription fee. In addition to freemium and subscription models, other business model patterns Spotify uses to create, deliver, and capture value include rent instead of buy, mass customization, two-sided markets, leveraging customer data, flat rate, and long tail, which is when the majority of revenue comes not from blockbusters, but from the long tail of niche products. This model is ideal for Spotify, which has tens of millions of songs and adds 20,000 new songs daily. With a critical mass of songs, Spotify can cater to over 600 million listeners in more than 180 markets. Some other popular business model patterns include no frills, which means delivering a very basic or stripped back offering. Think budget airlines, discount supermarkets with minimal displays, flat pack furniture retailers, and pay-as-you-go mobile services. And then there's peer-to-peer, in which the company facilitates a meeting point, often digital, where individuals, the customers, can connect. This encompasses most social media platforms, as well as platforms like Airbnb, Uber, and PayPal. Another one is prosumer, where the company provides a way for consumers to act as producers. Content creators on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram are prominent examples of this. But there are also examples like Tesla offering solar panels and batteries so customers can generate and store their own electricity and sell any excess back to the grid. While we won't go into all of the 55 different business model patterns today, I encourage you to take some time before our next session to reflect on the business model patterns of your own organization, or perhaps of a company that you admire. This is a valuable starting point for business model innovation, pointing you toward the breadth of opportunities for innovating how you create, deliver, and capture value. So that's it for this introductory session on business model innovation. We hope that it has piqued your interest in learning more about the practical aspects of innovating your business model, which will be explored throughout the rest of the course. We look forward to seeing you in the next session, where we will dive deeper into the building blocks of business models, setting the stage for meaningful innovation and growth. Hi, and welcome back to this course on Business Model Innovation Essentials. In the first session, we covered some of the basics of the topic, including what a business model is and why it is increasingly important for organizations to continuously and critically assess and innovate their business models. We also shared some inspiring examples of business model patterns, which is a great bridge to this second session in which we will get into the building blocks of your business model. Analyzing the patterns and dissecting the building blocks of your business model is the groundwork for understanding how to innovate strategically. Are there aspects of your business model that are susceptible to emerging threats or changing market demands? Or are there aspects that hold promising opportunities and are ripe for innovation? These are the sorts of questions you want to ask. How you answer these questions requires a systematic approach that combines industry insights, customer feedback, and competitive analysis. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what are the building blocks of a business model? If you remember from the first session, a business model outlines how a company creates, delivers, and captures value. These three core components, value creation, value delivery, and value capture, encompass all of the building blocks of a business model. Therefore, business model innovation means a change in one or more of these areas. Let's take a closer look at each of these areas and explore the specific components involved. First, value creation is about how your business model produces something of worth that attracts customers. This includes identifying customer pain points, which are the specific problems that your products or services solve. It also involves defining your market segments, which are the distinct groups of people or organizations that your business targets as customers. Key activities refer to the crucial actions your business must undertake to operate successfully, and key resources are the assets required to carry out these activities. These can be physical, intellectual, human, or financial. Lastly, key partners are other organizations or individuals who help you deliver your value proposition. Collaborating effectively with these partners can enhance your business's ability to innovate and deliver. Second, value delivery focuses on how your business brings its products or services to customers. This starts with your promotion channels and formats, which are the methods you use to communicate with your market and promote your offerings. Points of sale, distribution, and service touchpoints are how and where your products are sold and delivered, as well as how you support customers post-purchase. The gain or pain reliever message explicitly communicates your value proposition, that is, how your products benefit customers by either adding something desirable or alleviating a pain point. This message clearly conveys why customers should choose your solution over others. And third, value capture is about how your business makes money and sustains its financial health. This includes your cost structure, detailing the major costs incurred while operating your business model. Understanding this helps identify areas where efficiency can be improved. Revenue streams are the various ways in which your business earns money, such as direct sales, subscriptions, advertising, or other means. And lastly, the concept of lock-in refers to mechanisms you put in place to retain customers over time, ensuring ongoing revenue and reducing the likelihood of them switching to competitors. To help you start thinking about the building blocks of your own business model, we have added a downloadable business model canvas to the resources for this session. We recommend completing this collaboratively with your team or key stakeholders. The exercise should spark good discussion and maybe even inspire some initial ideas for business model innovation in your organization. In addition to interrogating how your company creates, delivers, and captures value, you will also want to look at how effective or resilient it is in these areas. For this, we turn our attention to business model evaluation, which ultimately answers the question, what makes a good business model? How well does a business model stand up under various market conditions? And can it sustain a competitive advantage? When assessing the strength of a business model, there are various criteria you want to consider. We'll discuss 6 of the most important here. First, there's desirability. This involves identifying whether the target audience has a genuine need or problem that the business can solve, and then quantifying how many people need the solution, as well as their level of enthusiasm, whether they expect it, are indifferent to it, or will they be delighted by it. This assessment helps define customer segments and predict customer engagement and potential market size. Take, for instance, Tesla, which tapped into a strong market desire for sustainable, high-performance electric vehicles that traditional car manufacturers had previously not addressed. And then contrast this with the now discontinued Segway personal transporters. Despite investors predicting it would eventually replace cars in city centers, Segway failed to accurately assess its product's practicality and affordability for the general public. The consumer desire for such a niche product was not significant enough, leading to Segway's limited market penetration. The second criterion is value proposition clarity. It is crucial that your value proposition clearly communicates the unique benefits of your product or service. A common pitfall is overcomplicating this message. The clearer it is, the easier it is for potential customers to understand why they should choose your offer over others. Apple's iPod, with its clear value proposition, 1,000 songs in your pocket, easily communicated its benefits, appealing directly to consumers' desires for portable music, which helped it dominate the market. In contrast, Microsoft's Zune failed to offer a clear, attractive value proposition. It emphasized technical features and capabilities like wireless song sharing over practical benefits, making it less appealing to early customers and leading to its eventual discontinuation. The third criterion is scalability. Evaluating scalability involves looking at whether the business model can handle increased demand without a corresponding increase in operational costs. The goal is to ensure that growing the business doesn't dilute profitability. Exemplifying scalability in business model innovation, Netflix transitioned from a DVD rental service to a global streaming leader by leveraging cloud computing. This allowed Netflix to manage growing global demand without substantial infrastructure costs, so it could maintain profitability as it grew. Then there is Blockbuster, which is an example of a company that failed to scale down. Burdened by the high fixed costs of its physical stores, Blockbuster could not adapt quickly enough to shifting consumer preferences, resulting in its eventual downfall. The next evaluation criterion is feasibility. This means assessing the practical aspects of your business model, including the costs and capabilities required to deliver your value proposition. For instance, launching a high-tech product demands specific technological expertise and production facilities. NVIDIA, which just made the news in mid-2024 for becoming the second most valuable company in the world at over $3 trillion, is obviously doing a lot of things right, but especially when it comes to feasibility in its business model. By investing in cutting-edge research and maintaining robust partnerships with manufacturers, NVIDIA has consistently met the high global demand for its graphics processing units. And in contrast, there's Aereo, which in 2012 offered a service to view and record over-the-air TV broadcasts via the internet using small antennas. The business model relied on a legal loophole that broadcasters quickly challenged. And despite raising nearly $100 million, Aereo lacked the technological and legal capabilities to sustain operations. In 2014, it lost a U.S. Supreme Court case and subsequently filed for bankruptcy. This underscores the importance of ensuring that a company's capabilities can genuinely support its ambitious value propositions. Then there is resilience. Strong business models withstand market volatility and adapt to economic changes by pivoting services, adjusting pricing, or exploring new markets. Assessing resilience means evaluating how the business maintains operations and profitability under various scenarios. Samsung is our example of business model resilience, not just for its success in smartphones, but for the way it has diversified its product line into sectors like semiconductors, construction, and biotechnology. This diversification helped stabilize the company during market fluctuations in consumer electronics. And then there are some once well-known smartphone brands that have failed to demonstrate the same resilience, including BlackBerry, HTC, LG, and Motorola. And the last criterion we'll discuss is viability. A robust business model turns customer desire into financial returns, considering factors like perceived value, customer affordability, and competitive pricing. Viability also involves ensuring the revenue model aligns with customer payment preferences to enhance success likelihood. For viability in business models, consider the many freemium services you use or encounter. Spotify, Slack, Dropbox, LinkedIn. Those that are successful have transitioned from a freemium model to a paid subscription service by offering advanced features and integrations that users are willing to pay for. But many others have been unsuccessful in this and are unable to generate consistent revenue growth. So that's it on the building blocks of business models. Stay tuned for the next session in which we will explore how to apply these insights practically and strategically. See you there. Hi, thanks for sticking with us on this Business Model Innovation Essentials course. In our last session, we explored the building blocks that comprise business models and the criteria by which to evaluate them. We shared some examples of successful business models and some that have failed to perform well under various conditions. This brings us to the central question of how to innovate a business model. And that's what we'll aim to answer in this third session, focusing on strategies for business model innovation. As we discussed in the previous sessions, business model innovation involves changes to one or multiple building blocks of an existing business model or creating an entirely new business model. So essentially, business model innovation can be understood as a change in who the target audience is and how a company's value proposition addresses their needs. It can also mean a change in the operational logic, such as switching from manufacturing to partnering for operational efficiency, or shifting how revenue is collected, from selling to renting or licensing. But what does this mean in practice? Here are 6 core strategies to manipulate a business model. Number 1, integration. Integration involves adding another business model to strengthen the overall business model value. This strategy is often related to mergers and acquisitions or company building activities. It is the most common mode for innovating in Horizon 3, focusing on transformational areas for the future rather than today's core business. Larger companies frequently observe the development of startups and, once proven promising, integrate these startups and their business models into the organization. Prominent examples include Facebook's acquisition of WhatsApp and Instagram, or Google's acquisitions of Android, YouTube, and Fitbit. Number 2, substitution. Substitution involves replacing a business model element with another element that performs the same task. This approach is often related to process improvement or technological upgrade initiatives. It is prevalent in industries undergoing rapid technological change. Think of examples like Adobe and Microsoft, which substituted the selling of perpetual software licenses with subscription-based models. An example more from the hardware space is Hilti, a company that develops and manufactures products for the construction industry. To keep up with its customers' changing preferences for lower fixed costs and greater flexibility, Hilti began substituting one-time sales with a tool leasing, maintenance, and service model. Number 3, augmenting. Augmenting as a business model innovation strategy means increasing the value of the business model by enhancing single elements. This approach often involves changing the value proposition, targeting a broader audience, or enhancing the value promised by new features. For example, Apple frequently uses this strategy by regularly updating its hardware and software ecosystems to improve user experience and integrate new services. Likewise, Netflix has augmented its value by expanding its content library and enhancing streaming technology. Number 4, elevating. Elevating means transforming a specific part of a business model into a standalone element or business model. This approach is often applied when an internal capability becomes so significant that it offers potential benefits to external market players. Amazon's development of Amazon Web Services is a prime example. AWS originated from Amazon's internal infrastructure, which was advanced enough to be offered as a cloud service to other businesses. This transformation allowed Amazon to capitalize on a key internal resource, which launched it on the path to becoming one of the most dominant players in the cloud services industry. Another example is Pixar's RenderMan. Initially developed as an in-house tool to create high-quality animation, Render Man was so advanced that Pixar decided to sell it as a commercial product to other companies and studios. Subsequently, Universal Pictures and Marvel Studios used it to create several blockbusters independent of Pixar. Number 5, excluding. Excluding involves removing a component to narrow down the business model's function. This approach is exemplified by Ryanair's no-frills offering at a lower cost. Another example is IKEA, which removed the cost of assembly from its business model by requiring customers to assemble the products themselves. This not only reduces costs, but also simplifies logistics and warehousing, allowing IKEA to focus on design and sustainable manufacturing. The exclusion strategy helps streamline operations and can lead to a significant competitive advantage by enabling lower prices and distinct market positioning. For this reason, it is often seen as an alternative approach in industries traditionally dominated by comfort and high prices. And finally, number 6, porting. Porting means moving a business model component, or in some cases, an entire business model, from one domain or industry to another. This approach leverages a business model's strengths in new, unexplored markets. Think of the brand Garmin. Initially focused on GPS technology for marine and aviation markets, Garmin ported its expertise in navigation technology to the consumer fitness market with Garmin fitness devices. By applying its GPS and data tracking capabilities to wearable fitness technology, Garmin has become a leader in health and fitness devices. Brainstorming sessions are a good place to start applying this type of strategy. Gather a few people in your team or organization to consider different business model patterns. Remember back to the first session? And then collaboratively come up with ideas on how they might be transferable to other domains. To help you select which strategy to use when and for what purposes, we've plotted them on a simple graph comparing degree of innovation and focus of innovation. On the x-axis, degree of innovation, we measure the extent of change brought about by the innovation strategy. Strategies on the left, like substitution, are more incremental, making small adjustments and improvements, often involving existing and core activities or business models. Strategies on the right, like integration, are more transformational, bringing about significant changes to the business model or potentially entirely new business models that address new customers or markets. On the y-axis, we have focus of innovation. In the lower part of the axis are strategies that focus on improving operational efficiency, like elevating, which often involves enhancing internal processes, resources, or capabilities. Then, in the upper part of the axis are strategies more focused on expanding market reach by changing how the company interacts with the market. Think of augmenting, which aims to broaden the audience or enhance the value proposition. Another dimension of this graph is the scope of innovation, from narrow, meaning a change to just one or possibly a few components of an existing business model, to broad, which would mean a comprehensive change impacting multiple components or the creation of an entirely new business model. This is depicted by the color gradient. Excluding, shown in a lighter shade, often involves removing a single component. In contrast, porting, shown in a darker shade, can involve transferring an entire business model concept. There are, of course, exceptions to this graph. We see companies using the substitution or augmenting strategies for transformational innovation, and the elevation strategy leading to market expansion. But this is a general framework to help guide your strategic choices and highlight the most common applications of each strategy. Consider the 6 strategies we discussed here as lenses through which to view your own business model or others you may be studying. They offer a systematic approach to thinking about how to innovate and adapt your business model to stay competitive and relevant. So that's it on strategies for business model innovation. Stay tuned for the next session where we will explore how to implement business model innovation. See you there. Welcome to session 4 of our Business Model Innovation Essentials course. In this session, we'll explore how to effectively implement business model innovation across each of the 3 horizons. By differentiating the steps for each of the 3 horizons, we can tailor our approach to different levels of innovation. Horizon 1, adapting an existing business model. This is about making incremental improvements to the core business. It's the least risky and often involves optimizing current processes, enhancing customer value, or adapting to market changes. Horizon 2, expanding an existing business model. This involves exploring adjacencies and extending the current business model into new markets, customer segments, or product lines. It's a moderately risky, but offers substantial growth opportunities by leveraging existing capabilities and assets. Horizon 3, creating or adding a new business model. This is the most radical and involves pioneering new business models that may disrupt existing markets or create entirely new ones. It requires a high tolerance for risk and a willingness to invest in unproven ideas with potentially high rewards. Let's go step by step through each of these. The first step for business model innovation in Horizon 1 is conducting a thorough analysis of your current business model. It's important to map the key components such as value proposition, revenue streams, customer segments, and the overall cost structure. Analyzing the performance through financials, customer satisfaction, and market position can highlight strengths and pinpoint areas for improvement. Additionally, gathering feedback from environmental scanning provides valuable insights into emerging risks and opportunities. This step identifies the components that need to change, given the external business environment. Step 2, innovation options. Once the assessment is complete and the key areas to innovate are identified, the next phase involves ideating and developing new business model options. This can be achieved by listing alternatives for each critical component or consulting business model patterns as sources of inspiration. Through this exercise, you should identify the 3 or 4 most promising business model patterns. Compare the potential and risks of each, then select the best fitting business model pattern or combination of patterns for further experimentation. Step 3, experimenting and validating. Testing a new business model is crucial and can be conducted through pilot projects in selected market segments. Only validation in the real world will show whether the assumptions made will hold true. This step allows the business to monitor performance closely and collect detailed feedback, using it to make quick, iterative adjustments. Once the model has proven successful on a small scale, cautious planning for a broader rollout should ensure scalability and sustainability. Step 4, change and rollout plan. Implementing a new business model requires a detailed plan for how to transition from the older business model. This includes outlining how the shift from the old model to the new one will occur, the timeline, implications for current operations, and communication strategies. It's important to provide training and support to all employees to ensure that they understand their roles within the new model. Adjustments to the business infrastructure may be necessary to support the new model, including investing in new technologies or updating physical assets. Step 5, measure and adjust. Finally, it is vital to set clear metrics to measure the success of the new business model and conduct regular reviews to assess performance against these metrics. Continual improvement and staying agile are key, allowing the business to adapt as industry trends shift and new opportunities arise. This ongoing cycle of monitoring and adapting ensures that the business model remains relevant in the market. So that's business model innovation in Horizon 1. Now let's look at how the steps differ for Horizon 2. Expanding an existing business model is a crucial step for any company looking to grow and sustain its presence in the competitive market. It's about finding new avenues to increase the customer base, enhance product or service offerings, and enter new markets. The expansion process begins with a critical market analysis. What target groups are not yet well served? How big is the demand? Will it grow over time? And what changes, for instance, technological or regulatory, will open up new markets related to the core business? These are the kinds of questions to address in this first step. Step 2, solution analysis. Once the growth opportunities and markets are clear and prioritized, it is important to understand how to address these opportunities. This can be done through competitive analysis. Knowing competitors' strategies, strengths, and weaknesses can provide valuable insights, help craft a unique value proposition, and gauge the business's chance of success, given the current landscape. Assess whether existing internal capabilities are sufficient to serve new opportunities. If they are not, determine what is needed to build these capabilities and weigh the cost-benefit of doing so. Step 3. Solution development. Once the groundwork is laid, start developing specific expansion strategies. Consider geographical expansion and analyze factors such as regulatory, cultural, and economic conditions. Another avenue to explore is diversifying product or service offerings, either by enhancing existing ones or developing new. Forming partnerships and collaborations can also provide new channels, resources, or essential technologies. Step 4. Validation. Before fully committing to the expansion strategy, run a pilot program or limited release in the new market or with the new product or service. This step allows companies to gather data on performance, customer acquisition, sales, and feedback, and then use this information to refine their approach. Step 5. Business model adjustment. Once validated, the new capabilities need to be incorporated into the existing core business model or spun off into a new business model. This can include revisiting or revising the value proposition, market segments, cost structure, and revenue streams. Think about what these adjustments mean for resource allocation and risk management. Seamless expansion of existing business models requires systematic distribution of capital, workforce, and technology, as well as the mitigation of potential operational bottlenecks, market entry barriers, and resource shortages. Step 6. Measure and adjust. Finally, the expanded business model must be regularly monitored to evaluate its performance against the set goals using relevant KPIs. Companies must remain adaptable, continuously improving and adjusting their strategy based on real-world performance and feedback. Throughout the process, engaging stakeholders, including employees, partners, and customers, is also crucial, as their insights can significantly refine the expansion strategy. This ongoing cycle of evaluation, adaptation, and optimization is essential for the sustained success of the expanded business model. And that brings us to the final set of steps for Horizon 3. Creating or adding a new business model to an existing one is a strategic approach that can help a company diversify its revenue streams, reach new customer segments, and enhance its resilience against market fluctuations. It can be a strong growth lever, but it comes with greater risk than innovation in Horizon 1 and 2. So step 1 begins with examining market developments to identify opportunities for new business models. This involves conducting extensive market research to spot trends, changes in consumer behavior, technological advancements, and new businesses, such as startups that inspire the creation or addition of new business models. In this step, organizing innovation workshops with your team and external experts using business model patterns and other collaborative tools can help foster creative ideas. Step 2. Demand assumption testing. After identifying potential opportunities, the second step is to develop and validate demand assumptions. Is the offering attractive enough for a larger user group? Will they be willing to pay for the product or service? Multiple assumptions should be generated and outlined using business model innovation tools. Develop the most promising models as rapid prototypes. These must be detailed enough to evaluate, but flexible enough to adjust based on feedback. At this stage, input from relevant test users with different characteristics is crucial to validate assumptions and assess the demand potential. This will help secure buy-in and boost confidence for the next steps. Step 3. Feasibility assumption testing. Once evidence shows a clear demand for the solution, it's time to test assumptions about the feasibility. What are the most efficient and scalable ways to produce the product or service? How can you scale the business model from a rapid prototype to full-fledged production? Step 4. Go-to-market strategy. After validating the demand and feasibility, it is important to define the go-to-market strategy. Will the new solutions be promoted and sold under the current business model, or will they be spun off into their own entity? When all systems and processes are in place to support the scale-up, it's time to launch the business model to your target market. Monitor the performance closely and continuously look for improvements, respond to feedback, and make adjustments as necessary. Also, look for ways to leverage synergies between your new and existing business models through shared resources, cross-marketing, or bundled offerings. Step 5. Optimization. Once the new model has been refined, tested, and integrated, the final step is to scale and optimize it. Review and iterate the new business model. Establish regular review gates to assess its performance within the context of the broader business strategy. As with the other horizons, continuously monitor industry trends and developments that may affect your business model. Be prepared to adapt and evolve to stay competitive and meet changing market demands. Each of these step-by-step guides for implementing business model innovation across the 3 horizons is available in the ITONICS Toolkit for Business Model Innovation, which you can find in the resources for this session. Join us in the next and final session as we wrap up this course on business model innovation with some tools and tips for putting everything you've learned into practice. Hi, welcome back to the final session of this course on Business Model Innovation Essentials. If you've been with us since the beginning, you'll be familiar with the following aspects of business model innovation: how value creation, delivery, and capture make up a business model and the numerous patterns or types of business models out there; the building blocks of a business model and what criteria to use for evaluation; the 6 core strategies to manipulate a business model; and in the previous session, a step-by-step guide for innovating business models across each of the 3 horizons. We've covered a lot of methodology in this course so far. Now let's wrap up with a discussion of different tools that can help you put method into practice. Much of the complexity in business model innovation comes from the need to categorize the various components and understand their dependencies and interrelationships, not just to one another, but also to your company's broader internal and external environment. Therefore, visualizing business models is a practical way to reduce the complexity of designing new business models or restructuring existing ones. Here, we'll discuss 10 visual tools and the purpose each serves. The first 5 tools are all for the general purpose of mapping business models. And first up, mapping components is also the most commonly used due to the prevalence of the business model canvas, which we discussed in session 2 of this course. This visual tool breaks down business model into its core components. A business model canvas provides structure, but won't necessarily stimulate creativity because it doesn't provide further options to consider. For this reason, it is best used to map an existing structure and contemplate changes to the components. The second business model innovation tool, mapping interactions, has a completely different visual structure compared to the business model canvas. It is not based on boxes and components, but on actors and arrows. The arrow represents how the actors in the business interact with each other. This allows you to map the interests of each actor group, what they value, and what they get in return for compensation. The third tool, mapping effects, is a loop diagram. In contrast to mapping interactions, components are the focal points here, not the actors. Each business model component is related to another component, showing how they relate to one another. This allows you to visualize the critical business model components and analyze the effects of each one. Tool number 4, mapping ecosystems, takes a broader perspective. It not only maps the business model component of a single organization, but also allows users to map their relationships with partners in an ecosystem. This helps in understanding partners' motives more specifically and what value each partner brings to the business model ecosystem. The 5th business model innovation tool, and the last one in this category, is mapping evolution. This is a timeline view of business models, useful for communicating how individual business models within a larger organization have developed over time. It can help you spot macro-level patterns or trends among business models. Next, we move on to the second type of business model innovation tool for the purpose of comparing business models and making decisions. The Comparing Effects tool lists different business models and contrasts them according to their effects. For example, margins, defensibility, or scalability. This is a handy way to identify the business model that scores best, according to your set of specified criteria. Another option is Comparing Characteristics, which lists the features of each business model and compares them to alternative designs. The tool allows you to see how different models stack up in terms of specific attributes like customer engagement, cost structure, or operational efficiency. Down the line, this can also help you formulate your value proposition. By highlighting the strengths and weaknesses of different models, you can make more informed decisions about which approach might be the most effective for your business. We've now arrived at the third type of tool, which is for the purpose of actually designing business models. While the first two categories require knowledge about existing business models, the following category provides more inspiration, which is helpful when ideating and designing. The first tool in this category, designing from lists, is similar to a morphological analysis, which is used for idea generation and refinement. In designing from lists, you need to first think about the problem you're trying to solve through business model innovation. Then in rows, you list all the components or attributes relevant to the problem. In columns, you list the different alternatives or variations for each component. By going through each alternative and eliminating impractical or undesirable combinations, you can determine which alternatives are best for each component and combine your selections to shape a business model. The second tool, designing from components, is similar. It also begins with listing all the possible options or variations per component. You then draw connections between the options and decide on the business model design that seems most fitting. Lastly, the approach of designing from examples involves cards that describe existing business model patterns. The characteristics described on the cards can be used to find inspiration and port one business model to another domain or industry. The Business Model Navigator cards discussed in Session 1 are an example of this tool. These tools are great for the purposes described and all help foster greater clarity, competitiveness, and creativity in business model innovation. But ultimately, you still need a way to connect the insights you gain from mapping, comparing, and designing new business models to the critical steps of evaluation, validation, testing, and of course, launching. That is where an end-to-end innovation operating system comes in. An Innovation OS centralizes and integrates all your business model intelligence, streamlining the entire process from design to delivery. Equipped with features like AI-powered monitoring, automated reporting, and agile workflows, an Innovation OS enhances collaboration, ensures alignment with strategic goals, and accelerates the implementation of new ideas. It provides real-time insights, facilitates seamless communication among teams, and offers structured frameworks to validate and scale innovative business models efficiently. So, before we close off this course, let's conclude with 6 short and sharp tips for approaching business model innovation. Number 1, think holistically. View business models as a comprehensive perspective of your business. Consider potential customers, operations, and revenue options all together. 2, set clear objectives. Know your business model goals. If your goal is to innovate the core model, the steps to achieve this will look different than if you're expanding or creating new business models. 3, document your model. Write down your current business model. Sometimes this simple step reveals nuances or sparks ideas you hadn't previously considered. Share and compare this with colleagues to build a solid foundation for future innovation. 4, leverage tools. Use specific innovation tools and resources tailored to your needs. Draw inspiration from existing models and real-world examples rather than starting from scratch. 5, validate assumptions. Increase confidence by testing your assumptions. Start with customer desire and willingness to pay, then move on to feasibility. And number 6, start small, scale big. Plan innovation in small, iterative steps. Test on a small scale first, but keep scalability in mind to ensure long-term success. As we conclude this course on Business Model Innovation Essentials, remember that the key to successful business model innovation lies in understanding your value creation, delivery, and capture mechanisms, and continuously refining them to meet evolving market demands. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you feel better equipped to handle the challenges and opportunities that come with innovating business models. As you continue to grow and innovate, we encourage you to explore our other ITONICS Academy courses and online resources that you can find at itonics-innovation.com. See you next time.